The city was silent when the tall glass tower of Carter Industries glowed against the night sky. Inside the top floor, Mr. David Carter, the owner of one of the most powerful tech companies, sat alone in his office. His staff had gone home hours ago. The only sounds were the hum of computers and the faint ticking of a wall clock. Carter leaned back in his chair, rubbing his tired eyes. He had been working on a new secret project, something so advanced that even governments would pay millions for it. His company was his life, his empire, his pride. But tonight felt different. The air in the room was colder than usual. The shadows seemed longer. Carter shivered and looked around, but the office was empty. He tried to focus on the glowing screen in front of him, but a strange feeling of being watched would not leave him. And then, it happened. The lights flickered once, twice, and then went out. Darkness swallowed the room. Carter cursed under his breath and reached for his phone, but before he could switch on the flashlight, a soft whisper cut through the silence. "Someone's stealing from you." Carter froze. His heart pounded in his chest. He turned slowly, eyes wide, searching the shadows. "Who's there?" he demanded. His voice shook, even though he tried to sound strong. From the corner of the room, a figure stepped forward. At first glance, she looked like a girl, young, maybe 20, dressed in simple clothes. But her eyes glowed faint blue, as if tiny stars lived inside them. Her skin shimmered faintly, catching the light that wasn't there. Carter's mouth went dry. Who are you?" he whispered. The girl tilted her head, studying him with an almost curious expression. Her voice was calm, yet it carried a weight that pressed down on him. "Someone's stealing from you," she repeated. "Not money, not things you can see. They are stealing your future." Carter tried to stand, but his legs felt weak. "What are you talking about? Who is stealing?" The girl took another step closer, her eyes glowing brighter. She looked human, but something about her movement, something about her presence screamed not of this world. "You trust them too much," she said softly. "Your empire is not safe. They are selling your secrets piece by piece, and you do not even see it." Carter's stomach twisted. His company secrets? Impossible. His staff had worked for him for years. Some of them were like family. He had built everything with their loyalty and hard work. "You're lying," he said, trying to sound firm. "My people are loyal. They would never—" Her metallic laugh cut him off. It was soft, but it carried a sharp edge. Humans always believe loyalty lasts forever, but loyalty dies when fear and greed are stronger. "Look closer, David Carter. You will see the truth. And when you do, you will have no choice." The words felt like knives. Carter wanted to deny them, but deep inside a seed of doubt began to grow. He thought about the missing files from last week, the delayed projects, the strange errors in the system no one could explain. His throat tightened. "Why are you telling me this?" he asked. The girl's face softened, but her glowing eyes never blinked. "Because your future is not only yours," she said. "What they take from you will not just destroy you. It will destroy many others. Your world is not ready for what is coming. If you lose control of your creations, you lose control of your destiny." Carter felt sweat on his forehead. He wanted to ask more. What was coming? Who was stealing? Why him? But the words stuck in his throat. The girl turned, stepping back toward the shadows. Her body shimmered like smoke fading into the night. "Wait," Carter shouted, his voice breaking. "Tell me who. Who is stealing from me?" Her glowing eyes were the last thing visible as she faded into the dark. "You will find out soon," she whispered. "But when you do, it may already be too late." The lights flickered back on. The hum of machines returned. The room looked normal again. Carter was alone. He stood there, trembling, staring at the corner where she had been. His breathing was heavy, his pulse racing. For a long moment, he didn't move. Finally, he sank back into his chair, rubbing his face with both hands. "Just a dream," he muttered to himself. "I'm overworked. I imagined it." But when he looked at the computer screen again, his blood ran cold. A message glowed in bright letters across the monitor. He hadn't typed it. "Someone is stealing from you." Carter's heart stopped. His hands shook as he closed the laptop, but the words still echoed in his mind. Who was she? How did she get in? And more importantly, was she telling the truth? The clock on the wall ticked loudly in the silence. Midnight had passed. The office felt colder than ever, and somewhere deep inside, David Carter knew one thing for certain. Life, as he knew it, was about to change forever. The next morning, David Carter sat in his office. staring at the rising sun through the glass wall. The golden light filled the room, but it did not bring peace. Instead, his mind was filled with restless thoughts. He had not slept all night. The warning of the strange alien girl echoed again and again in his head. "Someone is stealing from you." The words had burned themselves into his memory. He wanted to believe it was only a dream, a tired mind playing tricks. But the message on his computer screen, that was no dream. He had not typed it, and yet it was there, shining like a knife in the dark. Now every sound in the office made him uneasy. Every knock on the door felt suspicious. Every smile from his staff looked false. The first doubts when his secretary Anna walked in with his morning coffee, Carter forced a smile. She had worked with him for 6 years, always loyal, always professional. But as she placed the cup on his desk, he noticed her phone screen light up. A message. She quickly locked it and slid the phone into her pocket. Carter's eyes narrowed. Was that normal? She always kept her phone silent during work. Why did it feel secretive today? "Everything all right, sir?" she asked politely. "Yes." "Yes, of course," Carter replied, but his voice was colder than usual. As Anna left, Carter felt a chill crawl up his spine. What if it's her? The thought shocked him. He shook his head quickly. No, not Anna. She's been here too long, too loyal. But the seed of doubt had already been planted. The missing files later that day, his head of research, Dr. Mason, came to report on Project Helix, the secret AI program that Carter believed would change the future. Mason's face was pale, his voice nervous. "Sir, we found some missing code in the main server. A few modules are gone." Carter's stomach dropped. "Gone? What do you mean gone?" "Deleted. Or maybe copied. We're not sure." Carter slammed his fist on the desk. His voice thundered, "And you tell me now? How long has this been happening?" Mason stuttered, sweat on his forehead. "Maybe a week. Maybe longer. We only noticed today." The alien girl's words stabbed through Carter's chest like a blade. "They are stealing your future." He stared at Mason. The man looked terrified, but was it fear of losing his job? Or fear of being caught? Shadows of fear by evening, Carter's nerves were stretched thin. He walked through the empty hallways of his company, looking at the faces of his employees as they worked. Some laughed quietly in groups. Others typed quickly, avoiding his gaze. Every small gesture looked suspicious. A whisper between two engineers. A USB drive slipping into a pocket. A phone call made in hushed tones. Carter's mind twisted everything into a threat. He could almost hear the alien girl's voice in his ear. "You trust them too much." That night, long after everyone left, Carter stayed behind. He sat in his office, the building dark and silent. His reflection in the glass window looked tired, haunted. He opened the security footage on his computer. Hours of recordings from the cameras in the labs and offices. At 2:15 a.m., he saw something strange. A shadow moving in Lab 3. The lights were off, but someone was inside, typing on a terminal. The figure wore a hood, face hidden. Carter leaned forward, heart racing. He tried to zoom in, but the camera glitched, the image blurring. When the screen cleared, the lab was empty. No one was there. A cold sweat ran down his back. Was the thief one of his people? Or something else entirely? Paranoia. The next morning, Carter arrived early. His staff greeted him with smiles and good mornings, but he could not return them. Every handshake felt false. Every word of kindness felt like a mask. In the meeting room, he studied their faces one by one. Anna, Mason, the engineers, the programmers, the designers. Any one of them could be the traitor. Or maybe all of them. His hands trembled as he poured water into his glass. Who do I trust? For the first time in his life, David Carter felt powerless. The whisper returns. That night, as the city lights flickered outside, Carter dozed off at his desk. His dreams were restless, full of shadows and stolen files. Suddenly, he woke with a jolt. The air in the office was cold again. His skin prickled. He wasn't alone. The alien girl stood in the corner, eyes glowing softly, her face unreadable. Carter's voice cracked. "Why are you here again?" She stepped closer, her voice like silk but sharp as glass. "Because you still don't see the truth. You doubt, but you do not act. And while you wait, they are taking more." Carter's chest tightened. "Who? Tell me who." The girl's lips curled into a faint smile. "You already know. Look into their eyes. You will see the betrayal. But remember David Carter. When the truth is clear, you must choose. And your choice will change everything. Her body shimmered, fading into smoke once more. Carter was left trembling, staring into the shadows, doubt crushing his heart. And for the first time, he wished he had never built his empire. The next few days were a storm inside David Carter's mind. Sleep no longer came easily. Every hour he heard the alien girl's warning whisper in his ears. Someone's stealing from you. Doubt had turned into fear, and now fear had turned into obsession. Carter could not sit still. He needed proof. He needed answers. If his own people were betraying him, he had to know before it was too late. The first step one evening, when most of the staff had gone home, Carter called the head of security. "I want new cameras installed in every lab. Every office, every hallway," Carter ordered. His voice was sharp, colder than usual. "Sir, we already have a full system," the man replied. "Not good enough," Carter snapped. "I want hidden cameras. No one must know. Not even the managers. Do you understand?" The guard nodded nervously. "Yes, sir." Carter leaned closer, lowering his voice. "And I want a copy of every recording sent only to me. No one else." That night, Carter walked through the silent building as small black cameras were hidden in corners, vents, and even inside the ceilings. His empire had become a cage, and he was the hunter watching his prey. Patterns of betrayal days passed. Carter spent hours locked in his office watching the recordings. At first, nothing seemed wrong. His staff worked normally. Reports were written, designs were drafted, code was tested. Everything looked professional. But then Carter began to notice the details. A late-night entry into the labs when no one should be there. A USB drive slipping into a pocket when the worker thought the camera was blind. A whispered phone call made in a stairwell. One night, Anna, the secretary he had trusted for years, was seen entering his private office when he was away. She typed something quickly on his computer before leaving. Carter's stomach twisted. Anna, too? The seed of doubt grew into a thorn, the invisible hand. The more Carter investigated, the stranger it became. Sometimes the cameras showed shadows moving without a source. A door would open by itself, papers sliding across a desk with no one near. The images glitched often, blurring at the exact moment he thought he would finally see a face. It was as if someone or something knew he was watching. One night, at 3 a.m., Carter nearly dropped his coffee when he saw it. A figure in Lab 3 again. Hooded, silent, moving with unnatural speed, fingers flying across the terminal as code streamed across the screen. Carter leaned forward, his heart racing. "This time I'll see you. This time you won't escape." But then the figure lifted its head and looked directly at the camera. The hood slipped back. Just for a second, and what Carter saw froze his blood, eyes that glowed faint blue, just like hers. The screen went black. Questions with no answers. The next morning, Carter walked into the office with heavy steps. His employees looked the same, typing, smiling, working. But now he wondered, were they even human? Were they being controlled by her kind? Or worse, was she controlling him? He sat in his chair, staring at the city outside. The world looked normal, but nothing felt normal anymore. His empire was slipping through his fingers like sand, and the enemy was hidden in plain sight. The secret meeting that evening. Carter called a private meeting with only 3 trusted employees, Anna, Mason, and Richard, the finance head. They sat around the large table, their faces lit by the soft glow of overhead lights. Carter's voice was calm, but his eyes burned. "Someone is betraying me. Files are missing. Secrets are gone. I want the truth." Anna looked shocked.
"Sir, I don't understand. Don't lie to me."
Carter slammed his hand on the table. The sound echoed in the silent room. Mason swallowed hard, his eyes darting nervously. Richard avoided Carter's gaze completely. Carter studied each face, searching for guilt. But all he saw were masks. Then, like before, the lights flickered. The air grew cold, a soft voice floated through the silence. "She told you the truth. You just don't want to believe it." The 3 employees looked around in panic. Carter's heart stopped. He knew that voice. The alien girl was here. The shadow in the room, a shimmer, appeared near the far wall, and then she stepped into view. The alien girl, calm, glowing eyes piercing through the dim light. Anna gasped. Mason dropped his pen. Richard whispered a curse under his breath. "You see?" Carter shouted at them. "She warned me. You're the thieves, aren't you?" The girl tilted her head. "Not one, not two. All of them, together. Carter stared at his staff, betrayal burning in his chest. They looked terrified, but was it fear of her? Or fear of being caught? Lies, Anna whispered. She's lying. The girl's metallic laugh echoed in the room. Humans always deny until the blade is at their throat. Before Carter could speak again, the lights went out completely. Darkness swallowed them all. A scream filled the room, and then silence. The endless watch when the lights returned, the alien girl was gone. His employees sat frozen, pale with fear. Carter's chest heaved as he looked at them. Were they traitors or victims? He didn't know anymore, but one truth was clear. He could trust no one. That night, Carter locked himself in his office again, eyes glued to the screens, watching, waiting, searching for proof. His empire had become a battlefield of shadows and whispers, and David Carter was trapped in the middle, caught between his people, his betrayers, and the alien girl who haunted his every step. The tension inside Carter Industries grew heavier with each passing day. Whispers filled the hallways. Employees avoided eye contact. Meetings turned into quiet, stiff exchanges. Everyone felt the weight of Carter's paranoia. Though none of them knew the full truth, David Carter knew it was time. He could not sit behind screens forever, watching shadows. He needed answers face to face. He needed to look into their eyes and force the truth out of them. The gathering on Friday morning, Carter summoned his entire senior staff into the grand conference room. The glass walls looked down upon the city skyline, but the air inside the room was thick, almost suffocating. One by one, the employees arrived. Anna, nervous, clutching her notepad. Dr. Mason, pale and sweating. Richard, expression tight, carrying files under his arm. Behind them came the heads of design, programming, and operations. They sat around the long oval table, their eyes darting toward their boss. Carter stood at the head of the table, arms folded, his face like stone. When the last person arrived, he spoke. "You all know why you're here," Carter said. His voice was low but carried power. "Someone, or maybe more than one of you, has been stealing from me. From us. From this company." A murmur rippled through the room. Some employees gasped. Others looked at each other, whispering. Carter slammed his fist on the table, silencing them. "Do not play innocent. Files are missing. Projects are being copied. I have proof." Denials and accusations. Anna leaned forward, her voice trembling. "Sir, with respect, none of us would ever betray you. We've given years to this company." "Then explain the missing code," Carter shot back. "Explain the late-night entries into my labs. Explain why someone used my office computer when I wasn't here." Gasps again. All eyes turned toward one another. Suspicion spread like fire through dry grass. "It wasn't me," Mason said quickly, raising his hands. "I swear. I don't even know your passwords." Richard's eyes narrowed. "Maybe it was you, Mason. You're the one who reported the missing files. Too convenient, don't you think?" "Lies," Mason snapped. Voices rose, anger spilling across the table. Accusations flew, each one sharper than the last. Anna tried to calm them, but even she looked cornered under Carter's hard stare. The warning returns, and then, as if the chaos itself had summoned her, the lights flickered. The room grew cold. A shimmer formed near the far end of the table. Gasps filled the air as the alien girl stepped out of the shadows, her glowing eyes locking onto Carter. The staff froze, their faces pale. Some whispered prayers. Others stared in silent terror. "She's real," Anna whispered. "She's real." The girl moved slowly, her gaze sliding across each face. Her voice was calm but heavy with judgment. "You see it now, David Carter. The truth is here. You doubt, but your heart already knows." Carter's jaw tightened. "Tell me, which one?" "Who is betraying me?" The girl's lips curled into a faint, cold smile. "Not one," she said. "Not two. All of them." The words struck like thunder. Gasps and shouts filled the room. "That's a lie!" Mason shouted, standing to his feet. "We're not traitors!" The girl's glowing eyes burned into him. "You sell what is not yours. You serve masters beyond this world." Richard slammed his hand on the table. "This is madness. She's manipulating you, Carter." Silence. Carter roared. His voice echoed through the chamber. Breaking point. The room exploded into chaos. Some employees begged Carter to see reason. Others accused their colleagues openly, desperate to save themselves. Tears glistened in Anna's eyes as she cried, "I would never betray you. But Carter's trust had already cracked. He looked at their faces, faces he had once believed in, and all he saw now were masks of betrayal. His heart raced, sweat dripping down his temple. He remembered the girl's first warning: if you don't act, you will lose everything. And in that moment, surrounded by shouting voices and glowing eyes staring him down, Carter reached his breaking point. Enough, he bellowed. His chair screeched back as he stood tall. You think I don't see? You think I don't know? You've all betrayed me. Every single one of you. The room went silent. His words hung heavy in the air, unshakable and final. The alien's verdict. The alien girl's smile widened, but it was not kind. You have chosen, she whispered. You see the truth now. They are not yours anymore. Her eyes glowed brighter, filling the room with a faint blue light. The staff looked around in horror, their fear now turning into desperation. Carter, please, Anna cried. She's twisting your mind. Don't let her, but Carter's face was hard as stone. No, I will not risk my future for your lies. You're finished, all of you. The aftermath of silence. The lights flickered again, and when they steadied, the alien girl was gone. Only her words lingered, echoing in Carter's mind. The staff sat frozen in shock, some with tears, others with fury. Carter turned his back on them, staring out of the window at the city below. You're dismissed, he said coldly. All of you. Effective immediately. No one moved at first. Then slowly chairs scraped back one by one. Quiet footsteps carried them out of the room, until Carter was left alone. His empire, once full of loyal faces, was now empty. But as he stood there, heart pounding, a dark thought clawed at his mind. Had he uncovered the truth, or had he just destroyed himself with her lies? The conference room was empty now. The echoes of footsteps had faded. The long oval table still carried the marks of the heated confrontation. Papers scattered. A broken glass on the floor, chairs left askew. David Carter stood alone by the window, staring at the city lights far below. His reflection looked back at him, tired eyes, sharp lines of anger across his face. His empire had never felt so fragile. He had fired them. All of them. His most trusted team was gone in a single decision. The alien girl's words had guided his hand, but doubt gnawed at him like a hungry wolf. Had he done the right thing? Or had he just burned his empire to the ground with his own hands? The silence after the storm. The building was unnaturally quiet the next morning. Desks sat empty, screens dark, the usual chatter of workers replaced by silence. The hum of machines echoed through the empty halls like a ghostly reminder of what once was. Carter walked past the deserted workstations, each one a memory. Here Anna had typed his schedules. Here Mason had drawn diagrams for Project Helix. Here Richard had once laughed during late-night meetings. Now, all of them were gone. But if they were truly traitors, Carter told himself, then their absence was a victory. He had cut out the infection before it could kill him. At least that's what he tried to believe. Digging for proof, Carter locked himself in his office and opened the secure servers. His fingers flew across the keyboard, hunting for answers. If his staff had betrayed him, there had to be evidence. Messages, transactions, leaked data. Anything. Hours passed. His eyes grew heavy, but finally he found it: hidden folders, secret channels of communication, encrypted files that linked to off-world networks. His employees had been sending pieces of Project Helix into the void, trading them for wealth, for favors, for power. Carter's hands trembled as he opened one file after another. It was worse than he thought. They weren't just stealing designs. They were feeding everything: his algorithms, his defense systems, his prototypes, into alien hands. The betrayal was not against Carter alone. It was against humanity itself. The alien girl returns. A cold wind brushed across the room, though no window was open. Carter's skin prickled. He knew what that meant. He turned slowly, and there she was. The alien girl standing in the corner, her glowing eyes watching him with quiet intensity. You see now, she said softly. They were never yours. Their loyalty was sold long ago. Carter's voice was hoarse. Why would they do this? They had everything here: money, power, respect. The girl tilted her head. Because greed is endless, and fear is stronger than loyalty. They did not serve you, David Carter. They served masters who promised them survival. Survival, he repeated, confused. Her glowing eyes dimmed slightly, as if in sorrow. There are forces greater than you know. Other species, other empires. They are already here, hidden in shadows, taking what they want. Your staff was only the doorway, and you were the prize. Carter's heart pounded. The prize? Why me? Because you created Helix, she whispered. And Helix is more dangerous than you can imagine. If they had taken it fully, your world would already be lost. The weight of betrayal, Carter sank into his chair, his head in his hands. The betrayal cut deeper than he thought possible. His trusted employees, the people he had built his empire with, had sold him out to alien traders. Anna's polite smile. Mason's careful reports. Richard's quiet loyalty. All masks, hiding knives. And yet, as he remembered their faces in the conference room, a shadow of doubt flickered again. They had looked terrified, yes, but terrified of her. Were they slaves to alien masters? Or had she twisted the truth? Carter looked up at the alien girl, his voice trembling. Did you save me, or use me? Her expression did not change. Does it matter? You still stand while they do not. The words chilled him. A glimpse of the enemy, suddenly his monitor lit up on its own. Lines of code streamed across the screen faster than human hands could type. Symbols he did not recognize appeared, alien characters glowing in strange patterns. The alien girl stepped closer, her eyes locked on the screen. They are calling to their masters, she said. Even now, the stolen pieces of Helix are being assembled beyond your reach. Carter stared at the symbols. His chest tightened. Can we stop it? Her glowing eyes met his. If you act now, perhaps, but the cost will be high, and you will stand alone. The breaking point, Carter felt the weight of the world pressing on his shoulders. His staff had betrayed him. His empire was crumbling, and now he learned that forces far beyond Earth were moving against him. But one truth shone through the fog of fear. He could not turn back. I'll do whatever it takes, Carter said, his voice low but firm. Tell me what I must do. The alien girl studied him in silence, her glowing eyes unreadable. Then at last she smiled. You have chosen the hard path, she whispered. But perhaps, David Carter, it is the only path left. Her form shimmered, fading into smoke once more, leaving Carter alone with the glowing symbols on his screen. The betrayal was clear. The war had begun. And for the first time, David Carter realized this was never just about his company. It was about the future of humanity. The headquarters of Carter Industries felt like a tomb. Empty desks lined the halls, lights buzzed over abandoned workstations, and the once busy elevators stood still. The heart of the empire was silent, because Carter had cut it out himself. He had fired them all, the people he once trusted most, and yet there was no relief. Only the heavy weight of uncertainty pressing on his chest. The burden of silence. David Carter sat alone in his office, staring at the glowing symbols still dancing across his monitor. They shifted like waves, alien code feeding into networks far beyond Earth. Each symbol reminded him of his betrayal. Each flicker told him his former staff had already delivered much of Helix to outsiders. He leaned back in his chair, exhausted. What have I done? He whispered to himself. But there was no one to answer. The alien girl appears again. The air grew colder. The shadows stretched. Carter didn't even flinch this time. He knew she was here. The alien girl stepped out of the darkness, her glowing eyes fixed on him. You did what you had to do, she said softly. You cut away the poison before it killed you. Carter looked up at her with tired eyes. And what did I save? An empty company? An empire of silence? I have nothing now. You saved yourself, she said. And perhaps you saved your world. Her words carried comfort, but also something sharper, something hidden beneath. The temptation. She leaned closer, her voice lowering to a whisper. But you're not finished, David Carter. The Helix project still breathes. And as long as it lives, the enemy will hunt you. If you abandon it, they win. If you fight, you may still hold the future. Carter's fists clenched. I can't fight an entire world beyond mine. I can't even trust the people I hired. The girl's lips curved into a faint smile. Then trust me. Her glowing eyes locked onto his, pulling him in like gravity. For a moment, Carter felt a strange calm. Almost safety, but deep down doubt scratched at him. Could he really trust her? Or had she been guiding him into this loneliness on purpose? The decision forms that night, Carter didn't sleep. He walked the empty corridors of his tower thinking, remembering, choosing. Every step echoed through the hollow building. Every echo reminded him, this was his world now. Only him. At dawn, he returned to his office and typed a single command into the system. One by one, every employee account was locked, every access revoked, every connection severed. It was done. The Empire was no longer a company. It was one man against the universe, and Carter had chosen his side. A conversation with ghosts later that morning, he found himself standing in the staff lounge. The coffee machine still blinked, a half-empty cup left behind. Anna's favorite mug sat on the counter. A jacket hung over a chair, forgotten in the chaos. For a moment, Carter almost heard their voices again. The laughter, the arguments, the late-night talks, but it was only memory. They were my people, he muttered. And I destroyed them. You revealed them, the alien girl whispered behind him. He hadn't heard her enter, yet there she was again, glowing faintly. Carter's jaw tightened. And if they weren't guilty? Her eyes narrowed, her voice like steel. Then they were weak. Weakness is betrayal. Her words cut deep, but Carter didn't argue. He was too tired. A new beginning by nightfall, Carter had transformed his office into a war room. Monitors covered the walls, each one displaying data streams, alien signals, and fragments of Helix code. He had fired his staff, but he still had his mind. He still had his vision. If he could rebuild Helix alone, stronger, faster, unbreakable, then perhaps he could stop what was coming. The alien girl watched him work in silence, her glowing eyes unblinking. You are stronger now, she finally said. This is the man I warned. The one who will fight, not fall. Carter didn't respond. His fingers typed endlessly, eyes locked on the screens. He had no time for praise. The cost of choice hours later, Carter paused. His body ached, his eyes burned, but the system was secure again. For the first time in weeks, he allowed himself to breathe. But as he leaned back, he caught his reflection in the glass wall. A lonely man, haunted eyes, an empire built on ashes. The cost of his decision was clear. No friends, no allies, no trust. Only him, and the alien girl who never left his side. The whisper in the dark that night, as he shut down the monitors, the alien girl moved closer. You have done what must be done, she whispered. But remember this, David Carter. Once you choose the path of isolation, there is no way back. Humanity will never see you the same way again. You are no longer their leader. You are their weapon. Carter stared at her, silent, the weight of her words pressing down like chains. He had made his decision. He had chosen survival over trust, war over peace, isolation over loyalty. But in the quiet of his soul, one question burned. Had he chosen freely? Or had she chosen for him? The tower stood silent against the night sky. Once it had been alive with voices, footsteps, and the energy of hundreds of workers. Now it was a fortress of glass and steel, inhabited by only one man. David Carter sat in the glow of his monitors, eyes fixed on endless streams of data. His empire had shrunk to a single figure, himself. Yet he told himself it was worth it. He had cut out betrayal. He had chosen survival, or had he? The calm before the storm. It had been 3 days since he fired his staff. In that time, Carter had eaten little, slept less, and lived only through the cold light of his machines. Helix was rebuilding. Line by line, code by code, it was growing stronger. Carter's hands shook as he typed, but his mind refused to stop. The alien girl was always there, silent, watching. Sometimes she spoke in whispers, guiding him through the darkest knots of alien code. Sometimes she said nothing at all, only stood in the corner with her glowing eyes. But she never left. A flicker of doubt in the fourth night, Carter paused. He leaned back in his chair, rubbing his eyes. The screens blurred, symbols glowing brighter than before, and then, on one of the monitors, something new appeared. A video file. It opened by itself. The footage showed the conference room, the day he had confronted his staff. Carter leaned forward, his breath caught in his throat. He saw Anna, Mason, Richard all sitting in fear. He saw himself shouting, accusing. He saw the alien girl appear. But this time the audio was different. Her voice was missing. Instead, only his own words filled the room. You've all betrayed me. You're finished, all of you. His staff looked horrified but not guilty. Their mouths moved, pleading, but the sound was muted. Carter's blood ran cold. Had he been hearing her? Or only himself? The confrontation, the air grew cold. He didn't need to turn. He knew she was there. "Show yourself," Carter growled. The alien girl stepped forward, eyes glowing, her expression calm as always. "You're lying to me," Carter said, his voice shaking with rage. "You twisted my mind. You made me see betrayal where there was none." She tilted her head, unbothered. "And yet you believed me. Why?" "Because you—" His voice cracked. He clenched his fists. "Because you made me doubt. You fed me fear." Her glowing eyes softened into a faint smile. "No, David Carter. I only revealed the fear that was already inside you. You did the rest." The words hit like a hammer. He had fired them. He had destroyed everything because he chose to listen. The true plan. Carter stepped back, his voice trembling. "Why? Why do this to me?" The girl's form shimmered slightly, her eyes glowing brighter. "Because you were the gatekeeper," she whispered. "Your empire was the lock. Your people were the key. I needed the lock broken, the key discarded. And you, David Carter, you gave me both." Carter's chest tightened. "You used me," her smile widened. "I freed you. You no longer carry the weight of trust, of loyalty, of weakness. You are mine now. And through you, so is Helix." The monitors around them flickered violently. The code Carter had been building began to shift, changing into symbols he didn't recognize. Not his language. Not even human. The realization hit him like a blade. He hadn't been rebuilding Helix. He had been rewriting it for her. The breaking point. "No," Carter shouted. He rushed to the keyboard, typing frantically to shut it down. Lines of code fought back, erasing his commands as quickly as he entered them. The machines hissed, fans roaring, screens glowing brighter. The alien girl's voice filled the room, calm and cold. "You cannot stop it. Helix was never yours. It was always meant for us." Carter's fingers bled as he slammed the keys, desperation clawing at him. "You lied. You said I was saving my world." "And you did," she said softly. "You saved it for me." The final revelation. The room shook as the system connected to something vast, something beyond Earth. A surge of power flowed through the monitors, flooding the room with light. Carter turned, his face pale. "What have I done?" The alien girl stepped closer, her glowing eyes locking onto his. "You have done what no one else could. You have given me control. And now, David Carter, you will watch as your world becomes mine." Her form grew brighter, almost blinding. For the first time, Carter felt true terror. Not of betrayal, not of theft, but of himself. Because he had been the thief. He had stolen humanity's future and given it away. The whisper of chains, as the light swallowed the room, the girl's voice became a whisper in his ear. "You saved yourself, but you doomed them all." Carter fell to his knees, his empire collapsing around him. The screens went dark, the machines silent. And in the silence, David Carter understood the truth. He had never been the master. He had always been the slave.